Hey guys, how we doing?
Hey guys, welcome back.
Joe here.
Kevin.
We had an incredible episode last time with oh my goch, what was the name of the
Two
episode?
Cathedrals.
Two Cathedrals.
Yeah,
Powerhouse episode,
yeah.
man.
Just for me personally, I can say with certainty that this has been my favorite. That was my favorite episode so far
I think
on the
so.
show for 2 seasons.
Uh Season 2 definitely had the strongest episodes, so much so that I'm sure I have a favorite from season 1, but since it's season 2 is so fresh, I can't really think of any.
Up
The
until
Christmas episode obviously
yeah,
is the
up.
most
I was going to
fantastic.
say up until this episode, the Christmas episode in season one.
And the finale. The finale
Right.
is the most fantastic
But
too.
for me, the Christmas episode was my favorite
Yeah.
one leading up until this. But
And then Noel, that was another Christmas episode that was
yeah, it was really
fantastic.
good.
But
But
regardless, the
obviously,
show is
Two
so strong.
Cathedrals was amazing.
I don't know how you beat that. Martin Sheen basically calling out God.
Yeah, it was there was powerhouse performances in writing. The flashbacks to Mrs. Landingham
No, yeah,
and how she kind of got him started on
amazing.
his career. And then the scene that I don't think gets talked about enough is the scene where he's talking to her in the West Wing after
Mhm.
she's gone.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
And it's basically him talking to himself about these are
Yeah,
the things, don't quit. These are the things you haven't accomplished yet. And she's kind of like his angel on his shoulder
yeah,
psychologically saying, stop whining.
mhm,
Stop feeling sorry for yourself and think about the bigger picture because there are things going on in the world that are bigger than you and your problems right
yeah,
now. Other people have more problems and you're in a position to fix them. And so like through her, he kind of gives himself a pep talk.
yeah.
Um,
What's great about that is that it's not someone else telling him that. I mean, it is in the scene, but
it's him.
that's his
It's
subconscious.
really, yeah,
Yeah,
it's really like the idea of how much he respects her and what would she say right now
yeah.
if she was sitting here knowing the position I'm in.
He
And that's
has
it.
he
Yeah.
has that intelligence. He has that self awareness to do what's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as we understand it, as many people have made clear on both
Yeah,
Patreon and YouTube, we're not starting off season three here with the follow up, which you know I get why people are like just jump ahead, because man, that was quite a leave off, right? The
yeah.
last line in the episode was ah Leo.
Watch this.
Leo saying, "Watch this,"
Him
right?
saying
And
this.
yeah, so we're like, and then
Yeah,
it's over. But obviously, as world events unfolded, 9/11 happened,
yeah.
and I don't know how far they were into filming season
I think
three.
they were 5 episodes
They were
deep.
they were
Yeah,
ways into
yeah.
filming, and then Aaron Sorkin and the staff decided they needed to go back and address it, which makes
You have
sense.
to. It's a show
It's
about the
it
West Wing. You
right,
have to.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a show about the presidential administration and this event, the biggest event probably since Pearl Harbor,
yeah.
as far as the American consciousness happened.
Change the world.
And changed the world,
Yeah.
still has, right? Forever. I flew to Chicago a couple weeks ago, and the airports before and the airports after, it's not the same
I
experience.
mean, politically, I mean, we went to a war for 20
Everything. We're more
years. I mean,
polarized than
yeah.
ever. You've got one side who's co-opted flags and patriotism, and and
For
Toby,
better or for worse,
right?
which,
Yeah,
yeah.
we had the Patriot Act and Toby Keith singing stupid boot in your ass songs, and
Yeah.
the world absolutely went nuts.
I,
Freedom fries. If you guys remember that, and
yeah.
we were obviously much younger when this happened, but I remember gas stations the day after or the day of, price gouging everybody and lines in the streets for people thinking the world was ending.
Yeah. And I know I'm a younger guy, but I still remember it, guys. I know a lot of you think I'm super young, but I was alive. I remember
Yeah, that's
watching it
true,
on
right?
TV. Um, and I lived in Pennsylvania at the time. And I remember my mom just bawling all day because we lived in Pittsburgh at the time, and Flight 93
Yeah, Flight
was
93 was right
very,
there.
very
Yeah,
close, you
it
know.
was.
But no, I do think that if this would have happened in between, say they weren't filming season 3 right yet.
Like the season two wrap up had happened, but they
Yes,
hadn't started writing and pre-production on season three.
I do think that this season, particularly in the show itself, might have changed. I feel like
For sure.
because it's such a big world-shattering event that I, I feel like one episode is great they addressed it, but I feel like
They might have shifted the whole show instead of
yeah,
just doing the one episode.
yeah.
And I don't know what happens after episode like five-ish, right?
Eh,
Like there may still be a shift.
Well, a lot of you guys have signaled to us that that's not really the case.
Okay, so they just kind of do this one and kind of leave it at that a little bit.
Apparently,
Okay.
so
Uh,
I'm not sure.
right. Yeah, we've seen nothing. I
Yeah,
guess we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get to it.
yeah,
But it is good that they addressed it. I don't know
mhm,
how they addressed it. The only thing we know, and it's just because we just pulled up the video and we noticed that it was significantly shorter.
It's
Uh,
39 minutes.
yeah, 39 minutes, which is about 8 minutes shorter
Yeah.
than most of the episodes. So I don't know if they ran more ads or if this was more rushed or they said what they
It's
needed to say. But
deeply really fresh. I'm sure
right,
no one wants
sure,
to dwell on this too.
right, right. Yeah, I'm sure they got in what they wanted to get in that 39 minutes.
Yeah.
But again, we will see now.
And a lot of folks didn't want to talk about it. I know for a long
Right.
time, movies and TV, they just didn't talk about it for years. The
Yeah.
first movie to address it was Jersey Girl, the Kevin Smith movie in 2004.
Was it?
Yeah, he has
Okay,
there's a
because
line.
I know Flight 93 and World Trade Center movies, neither of which I saw, came out relatively
2006.
soon. Was it six?
Yeah.
Which there was still, and I remember again being a lot younger and I didn't see them, but there was still a lot of too soon sentiment around those two movies.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize I have not seen Jersey Girl,
It's
so I
a
don't
line.
realize.
It's a throwaway line. They're obviously it's set in Jersey. He
Right.
takes his daughter to the city, and they're talking about the musical Cats. And Ben Affleck goes, "That's the second worst thing to ever happen to the city."
Oh my God!
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Very dark line.
Well, it is, and didn't Gilbert Gottfried get in a lot of trouble for making some jokes on a roast too soon about that?
I
I
have
also
no idea.
recall that, yeah. So it was touchy, you know.
Yeah,
And then you flash forward to a couple years ago when The Big Sick came out. Do you remember The
yeah.
Big Sick?
Hmm.
Which is a really, really good movie.
Fantastic movie.
But Camille makes that joke.
And Ray
I
Romano.
remember I asked him, like, his thoughts on 9/11. He goes, "It's a tragic, terribly tragic day. We lost 19 of our best guys." And I think I was shocked
Yeah,
and probably the hardest I laughed in the movie at the
it's
same
like
time.
20 years removed. You
Exactly.
know,
It's just yeah,
it's
it's
yeah.
a different sentiment. But yeah, I was like, oh, I cannot believe he went there with that
I know,
joke.
I know.
Um, but you
We're gonna
know,
wind the clocks back for this one and be in the moment in 2001. So
right? Well, and like The Office. Remember when Will Ferrell was on The Office and he's
mhm.
trying to work they're training him how to do crowd work,
Yeah,
and he starts off with, "Where were you on 9/11?" They're like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!"
yeah,
Cut him off. I'm like, "All right,
yeah, yeah. So
it's touchy."
we can talk. Well, I don't want to say talk lightly about it now, but I mean it is
I mean, it's
enough time
different,
has
right? So
passed.
time is bad.
Yeah,
We all still recognize this as a horrible freaking tragedy
awful,
for sure.
awful.
One of the worst days in American history. But again, we're speaking most specifically of, and what's pertinent to this is how the reaction those first days through months, of just how nuts everybody went.
Truly
Um,
madness.
yeah, we people were plastic sheeting their houses and buying parachutes for work in their offices, and racism sort of spiked, and
Big time.
it was a weird time for America.
It really was.
And somehow Mexico and gay people became George Bush's attacking point after
It's
this, and it was just a strange time.
insanity.
Yeah. But at any rate, we're gonna go and get into this.
Let's do it. Well, if you're watching us on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button for us, leave us a comment down below, and please, please, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all the new content we have coming your way.
Absolutely. If you'd like to see full reactions to this and every other episode of The West Wing that we're watching, please check out a link in the description below to our Patreon page. We are watching the entire series in order, and as you can see, we've cleared the first two seasons. All right. And please feel free, guys, on Patreon or on YouTube to share your thoughts on how America has changed
I hate
post 9/11,
to
man.
follow up with the Will Ferrell comment, but where were you guys on
Yeah,
9/11? You know,
exactly. Yeah. I would probably go with we're a little bit worse off, obviously, just in terms of paranoia and polarization and
and how you know
right
what, and how we treat Muslims, honestly.
how we treat Muslims and how we treat political opponents, and we have, I feel like America, we have kind of
Islamophobia is real.
right, we've lost our way a little bit
We have.
in a lot of ways, in the names of you know flag waving. Yes, tonally this is not going to be light.
No.
Obviously, we're at the FBI.
Harun Nabi is a Persian name.
Yeah?
Means friend of the prophet. I mean, you gotta ask, what good would an alias be if it...
Music change.
Right?
Get me the Secret Service Joint Operations Center at the White House.
Yeah,
I got a knot in my
I'm
stomach.
going home.
Seriously, right?
it's only 5.
Yeah, I'm heading home.
High school kids from across the country who are accepted for, I don't know, they come to Washington for 4 days, they get to meet with interesting people, and you're one of them.
All right, I'll give him a few minutes, but then I gotta go, okay?
Yeah.
When am I supposed to do this?
Now,
They qualify with essays,
funny.
recommendations, grades in history and government. It's very competitive.
Station 1, code black, crash.
All right, listen, something's about to happen. Something's happened.
Oh man.
This sucks. This is hard to watch.
This is called a crash. It means there's been some kind of security breach and no one's allowed in or out of the building. Home of the president and the executive branch, the most powerful of the three branches of the federal government.
Isn't it true that the framers made sure that the executive branch was the weakest of the three branches?
These kids know
I
their
mean, isn't that
stuff.
why they made the legislative branch, or people's branch, the most powerful?
The legislative branch is the most powerful, but we get a motorcade, so back off. All right, you already know about the branch
They do
of
write
the
the laws,
government.
yeah.
What's the deal with everybody trying to kill you?
Well,
Yeah.
it's not everybody, and they're trying to kill you, too.
But-
The Secret Service
Yeah.
and the military. You know, in the
Yeah.
protection detail, they practice 1,000 different scenarios for a gun. There's one guy whose job it is to stand in front of the bullet.
Yeah.
Not get the shooter, stand in front of the bullet. But I still make more than the guy whose job it is to stand in front of the bullets, so how do I tell him to quit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No
really
kidding.
good, yeah.
I'm going to be here 6 presidents from now in my office, Wile E. Coyote and a map. Islamic extremist is to Islamic as blank
analogy, yeah.
is to Christianity.
It's a great analogy.
Islamic.
Yeah,
It's like Westboro Baptist Church.
right. Christian fundamentalists,
Christian
dangerousness.
fundamentalists.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay, I'm wrong.
Well,
Jehovah's Witnesses?
Oh, yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
That's what we're talking about. And why are we targets of war?
Because we're Americans.
That's it?
Your ridiculous search for rational reasons why somebody straps a bomb to their chest is ridiculous.
You just called me ridiculous twice in one sentence. Things are a lot less comic for women
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
aren't allowed to attend school or have jobs. This is a plural society. That means we accept more than one idea. It offends
Yeah.
them.
Almost forgot about the
Making a
open.
bottle
Yeah.
episode, yeah.
We didn't have an opening credit sequence.
We did not.
Are you Rakeem Ali?
Yes.
Stay calm. I'm Special Agent Ron Butterfield of the United States Secret Service. Keep your hands over your head.
Well, I wonder what his connection is to all this.
You know, when this happened, there was people getting kicked, putting on no-fly list for having the same name without it being the right person.
Gotcha.
It's quite possible when they looked up the name,
Same
they just
name.
like when she freaked out at the beginning, she might have been like, "He works at the White House," and that's it.
Gotcha.
Have you ever heard
It
of
feels like they would just
Kudam
be
Sharif?
grabbing a random guy.
That's what I'm saying,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
He
This
was arrested
seems
in
out of
connection with an
character.
attempted bombing of one of the New York airports. Kill them all. Yeah.
All the Islamic extremists.
No, I mean everyone.
I like what he's doing here. It's
That's
like
it, though.
Who gets to pick?
The,
yeah.
the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Knicks, the Lakers. Islamic extremist is to Islamic as KKK is to Christianity. That's about right. When you think of the Taliban, think of the Nazis. When you think of the citizens of Afghanistan, think of Jews in concentration camps. He said he once saw a guy at the camp kneeling and praying. He said, "I'm thanking God for not making me like them."
Oh man.
Now that in this room, Sam is the knowledgeable terrorism expert.
By the way, the Arabic name for their secret order has survived until today. You know,
Assassins.
assassins.
You know a lot about terrorism?
I dabble. Not only do terrorists always fail at what they're after, they pretty much always succeed in strengthening whatever it
Yeah.
is they're against.
I mean, that's
What
really
about the
true.
IRA?
They're still doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not frustrated by the failure.
No?
What are you doing working for a White House staff secretary?
What do you mean?
We don't do a lot of math around here.
I think they've got the wrong guy.
I think
my
so.
vibe,
Here.
yeah. It's kind of the
Your
point,
father
yeah.
made a contribution to something called the Holy Land Defender.
You drag my father into this pitiful exercise. I'm afraid I'm going to get angry. CJ has a bizarre affection for the intelligence community that we just
Bizarre? How about right? We need spies, human spies.
The big
Spy
thing after
satellites are
9/11,
great
yeah.
if you're trying to detect whether or not Khrushchev's put missiles in Cuba.
What about illegal searches? What about profiling? You know what Benjamin Franklin said?
They can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety, deserve neither liberty nor safety.
Some of these guys, we're going to have to walk up to them and shoot them. Yeah, we can root terrorists.
That's what they did. That's
Some
what
of these
happened to
guys
Bin
aren't
Laden.
going to be taken
Yeah.
by the 105th
Yeah.
Armored Tank Division.
What were you protesting?
The presence of U.S. troops in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the home to two of our holiest mosques. Mecca is there. It's not uncommon for Arab Americans
Yeah,
to be the
seriously.
first suspected when that sort of thing happens.
I can't imagine why.
Whoa. Leo.
terrorist activity, people always assume it's Arabs. I'm racking my brain.
But I can tell you that it's horrible.
Well, that's the price you pay.
Excuse me?
Horribly impoverished places are an incubator for the worst kind of crime.
Which is the same as it is right here. Gangs give you a sense of belonging, and usually an income. But mostly, they give you a sense of dignity. They walk around saying, man, I'm in a gang. I'm with them.
That's probably true.
Do you consider yourself a man of principle?
I try to be. We don't need martyrs right now. We need heroes.
We found him.
Where?
Germany.
Mr. Ali, you're free to go. Thank you.
Oh, this poor guy.
Yeah.
Well, this.
Sarah.
We haven't met Elizabeth.
Sarah was
We've not
getting
met
older,
Elizabeth
and she was getting nervous because she didn't have any children. The Jews, the sons of Isaac. The Arabs, the sons of Ishmael. The two sons came together to bury their father.
Do you favor the death penalty?
No.
But you think we should kill these people?
You don't have the choices in a war. Put them in a small cell and make them watch home movies of the birthdays and baptisms and weddings of every single person they killed.
Yeah, screw them. Yeah.
And then they'd get punched in the mouth every night at bedtime. You want to get these people? I mean, you really want to reach in and kill them? Keep accepting more than one idea. Makes them absolutely crazy.
I think that's the most important.
Yeah,
takeaway.
it is. Yeah.
That's the most important takeaway.
We are a society that welcomes people. That's it. That's who we're supposed to be.
Keep an open mind.
Right.
Just keep doing what you're doing. Okay.
Is this the apology that
I
definitely should
hope
happen?
so,
Yeah.
That's the price you pay for having the same physical features as criminals. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's ugly.
That was unlike me. You know? Way to be back at your desk.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is
Yeah.
he just going to go back to work like this horror show didn't just happen?
Yeah. Also, great needle drop. I can't
Yeah.
believe they're using Buffalo Springfield for
Yeah.
this. That's crazy.
Sorkin does a good job with music often on this show.
They didn't mention the words 9/11 one time.
Yeah,
they didn't show anything.
Right.
They didn't specifically state what happened.
Yeah, this was different than I expected it to be.
You know, obviously, I think because it's so fresh, they had to be very, very careful.
Well, there was no easy way to
No.
walk this line for sure.
I think they handled it geniusly. This could have been hokey. It could have been way over dramatic.
Right.
Frankly, it could have been disrespectful. But I feel like the fact that it made the point, like, hey, we are not going to condemn all Muslims for this, you know?
Right.
And I honestly feel like, I don't know if this is the case, but I would wonder if a lot of teachers around this time and a lot of parents showed their kids this episode alone.
I would hope the sentiment at least echoed a little bit. You know, thinking back to how we actually acted.
I mean,
which wasn't great.
Not great. And you know, the ugly thing about this is 20 years ago when this happened, there's a lot of closed-minded individuals that had that same mindset of like, they're all the same.
Right.
And,
well, I mean, we're
and
not
that
much has changed.
I was just going to say that. That's the thing, is that like they instill that into their kids.
Right.
And then the cycle just continues, you know?
100%.
My dad said this, so that's why this is the way
mosques still get attacked. After the coronavirus pandemic began, right? And Donald Trump, in all of his wisdom, who didn't want any blame on him, said, it's not me, it's China's fault. You know, China virus and all the other stuff he said. Violent attacks against Asian Americans skyrocketed.
It did.
Because, you know, some people frustrated with the state of the world decided beating up an Asian person walking down the street was somehow a way to deal with this in an acceptable way, which is nuts to me. But
it's emotional immaturity. Oh, people are scared and they don't know what to do,
so they do something
lash out
stupid,
against
right? Yeah,
a targeted demographic, and it's not right,
sure.
And it's insane. And, you know, I've shared this I think during this show before. I was raised Christian. My mom is, you know, Irish, Polish. We're, you know, Irish, Polish, you know, European. my dad is Muslim. My dad is Arab. He's Palestinian. So when I was a kid, all slews of just 9/11 bull
Oh,
crap.
I'm
You know what
sure,
I mean?
right?
And I'm
Yeah.
like, didn't matter the fact that I was in church every Sunday with these kids. You know,
Yeah, well, details never matter for
no,
people like this.
and
Yeah.
so this does resonate with me, and
Sure.
it does. You know, it hits a nerve because it's so frustrating. And you know,
It is.
I like the fact that like you know, there's so many Muslim Americans, there's millions of them. What's the line from Superbad? Muhammad's the most common name in the world.
Yeah,
You know what I
right. Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
It's just
Read a book.
yeah, read a book, and it's just so
Yeah.
infuriating that
No,
like you have
sure.
people that are just so frankly stupid when it
No.
comes to the situation. If you care about something, if you want to be a patriot, if you want to be an American, why don't you educate yourself on what's happening
Yeah,
instead
well,
of just
that
watching TV
that's
and
not what
being
we
like,
do.
that's those people that do that.
Well, now it's Twitter, and it's
Twitter, Facebook, whatever.
yeah,
No, you need to
it's
take
instead of
in
actual knowledge
you need
and
to take in
information, right?
actual information and assess what's happening.
What? You mean you can't just listen to Joe Rogan tell you how to think about everything? I like structurally how this was done too. You bring in this group of students to kind of talk with the characters on the show to kind of have the situation laid out and explained in layman's terms so that these kids can understand it,
Mhm.
and by extension, the audience watching the show can understand it. Here's what we're talking about. Here is the mess that we're in. Here's who's to blame. Here's who's not, and here's how you should be. I like how this was done.
So in many ways, if you look at this like from a meta standpoint, it's kind of like they're children that he's explaining it to in the show. In real life, it's adults.
Yeah, no,
Because
totally,
adults are watching the show, and a lot of
completely. It
adults
was
are like saying, probably said a lot of horrible things,
right,
probably said a lot of racist things,
right. It
and
was
this is him like sitting them down and being like, "This is where you're wrong."
right. Yeah, and I think that was the point of the small side plot with Leo, was to say even good people are doing stupid things right now in the names of reaction. We're all on edge, but for the love of God, being on edge doesn't mean you get to stop using your brain, um,
And these
and
people,
being a good person.
they call themselves these people like that are bigots. Frankly, they call themselves patriots, but
That's how it's
it,
always been.
it's
That's
not patriotic
right.
at all. If you
No,
really are a patriot, you stand for what America is, and it's the home of the free, man.
yeah,
Land of
yeah.
opportunity, and it's an equal opportunity for everybody.
But that's the thing that always gets me. But the people who scream "I'm a patriot" the loudest, or happen to always be the same people who don't follow the principles of pluralism in the United States. Like I'm a patriot, therefore you have to act exactly like me to be a good person. Not true. It's kind of like at least in the area where we live, there's a lot of the people who scream "I'm a good Christian" the loudest
Hmm.
happen to be the ones who also are hateful and terrible people.
And
Not all of them. I'm not trying to make a blanket statement, but certainly the lady doth protest too much when they scream "I'm a patriot, I'm a Christian," and therefore every horrible thing I'm saying after those words
yeah,
is null.
then of course, like it's
Excuse me.
understandable that people are riled up and
Right.
angry. How are you not angry when after 9/11? How are you not upset after that?
Sure, but it's
It's
pinpointing it.
exactly
It's educated frustration and directed frustration, not just blanket, easy, lazy, puddle deep.
no.
Here are the people I hate, and they're easy to spot because they look different from me. Is a thing we love to do here.
How does that make you different from them?
Yeah, I know, exactly. It
And
doesn't, right? Well,
and the,
except the killing thing.
exactly,
But
and it's a horrible event, and obviously we're 20 years removed. I don't think we have to tell you that, and I love the sentiment of this episode. I love everything about it, frankly, and I think it's one of the smartest pieces of writing I've ever seen.
yeah, it's the West Wing being the West Wing, and I'm glad they addressed it. I'm also glad we're getting back to the primary storyline next week.
Yeah.
Obviously, we love that, but I do think that this was, yeah, after seeing it, I do think that this was necessary.
Yeah.
For this show, because you'd be watching the show when the season started and be like, we're just going to pretend like it didn't happen.
Right.
No, we're going to address it right up front
You
with
have
its
to.
own standalone episode.
You have to.
All right, guys, we will catch you hopefully on a much more fun episode on next time out.
Yeah.